Yeah, welcome to 2024 and our ONE Online Improvement Committee. So yeah, share in the chat or verbally your New Year's resolution.
For me, my name is George, chair of this committee. My resolution would be to try to be more healthier. Try to take somewhat amount of trips for vacation. And I guess that's it. Looks like we got some new people in here. Like Julia Ray. How you doing, Cynthia? And Maria, she's new.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Happy New Year. I think Kenneth had been attending the meetings, but I'm so happy and thankful to be able to join this year because it's on Tuesdays. And Inja's with me also. I'm the Community Senior Program Manager at Asian Health and Service Center, and my New Year resolutions is less pastries and less eating snacks late in the evening. Thank you.
I have to 100% disagree with that, Maria. You should enjoy all the pastries.
Hey, I will say on record that with this committee, since we're going through the agenda, would like for the members to voice their opinions with their as we were going through the agenda. Your opinion does count on what we do here, so do voice your opinions. Feel free to do that. So here's the recap, and I'm going to hand it over to James.
Thank you, George. And yeah, I'm glad this time is working for people in the new year. And as you know, we're moved to a once-a-month schedule. And you might notice my throat sounds a little funny. I am got this lingering cold that I'm feeling a lot better now, but I still have a little bit of a cough, so it's really weird. But in any case, welcome. And as the first few points talk about, we're just you know, our new meeting cadence, and if this group deems it necessary, we will go ahead and have that second meeting. But for now, we're doing 2-hour meetings, while 10:05 to 11:55, because we do try to observe a little bit of a 5-minute break for those of us and those of you who have back-to-back meetings. It's good to get a little 5 minutes in between meetings sometimes. So I'm happy to report that the signatures have been signed and the charter is completed. If anyone needs a copy, we're happy to email it out. And I suspect, though, we'll be looking at it to potentially look at our roles as, you know, depending on the number of suggestions that come in for work items. Now, one thing that is on the docket to be completed is that old pesky request 6, the clarifying the miscellaneous document uploading screen that you know, allows, you know, that clarifies the language to make sure that people understand a lot of these documents submittals are optional. Samantha, do you have any anything to add about that?
Nope, it looks all good for the February 7th build. So I expect to start reviewing it with our contractor over the coming weeks and get it finalized.
Excellent. And last meeting, we didn't really officially prioritize the 4 other requests that we have. We've since we've got a couple others to think about, but these 4 requests we worked on a little bit, and I hope you had a chance to at least take a look at the briefing sheet, because we're going to be going into breakout sessions to work on them. One other little note, though, is what was known as request 13, the one that would simplify the one account creation screen right at the very beginning of everyone's experience with the ONE system. We're clarifying the wording on the authorized representative accounts. That's actually being handled by another group, and that's going in shortly on January 24th. And again, Samantha, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we made some small changes as part of that. For those who have been to one.oregon.gov, you may remember that there are two buttons you can press. One of them creates an account for you to apply for yourself and your family, and the other one creates an account for you to apply on behalf of other individuals, not as a community partner, but as what's called an authorized representative. And we found that having 2 buttons was understandably really confusing for people, and we were continually having people create the wrong type of account. So moving forward, what we've done is based on feedback from the AP technical team, which is the dedicated technical support team with the state that supports the mobile app and the web. We do have Veronica here from that group. Normally Mandy's here from that group, but today we have Veronica. Their team gave some feedback that they were hearing much higher praise for the way it's handled in the mobile app. So we're transitioning the web to mirror the account creation process in the mobile app. So on that one.oregon.gov landing screen, starting on the 25th, if you go there, there will only be 1 account creation button, not 2. So very simple. You click that 1 account creation button, and it's going to take you into a newly rewritten screen that explains who can create an account, how to create an account, and then gives a radio button. So they click either that they want an individual account and it explains what an individual account is, or they click an authorized representative account and it explains what that is right there on that screen. So they can't accidentally make the wrong type just because they clicked the wrong button on the landing. They have the descriptions right there to allow them to select, and then they fill out the information. This text is tested way better. People seem to understand it a lot better, and it just gives them a much cleaner look and feel for account creation. So I will be very happy to hear how people feel on the 25th about the changes.
Samantha, when this goes in, did the branches of the Oregon Health and Human Service, was they told about the new number 13 that's going in?
The open offices receive a communication from our communications team prior to the release, normally on the Monday or the Tuesday before the release. So I think they'll hear about it on the 22nd. But as far as the AP technical team who provides support in helping people create their accounts, I always work very closely with that team. They're made aware a month to a couple of months in advance of changes. As soon as I know, they know. So they're gearing up to be able to support.
Okay, because I'm trying to make sure that it goes down to the case managers, so it's easier for them when they explain it to their clients come previewing their reviews and stuff. So.
All right. And before we dive too much in, I just want to welcome to this meeting Inja Good. Am I saying your name right, Inja? Inja? I know Maria said it, but
Yes.
okay. And welcome back to Julie, who I don't know if this is a better time for you, but we're happy to have you back at these meetings. I had you down in my notes as Julianne, but I see Julie for it. So in any case, you know, I get to facilitate, but Samantha does most of the smart talking. And so this is while I can talk about these are our 4 items that we're going to ask you to work on and get the specific wording. So I'm just going to tee up Samantha before she talks about these 4. So look at these with the idea of which one do you want to work on? Because we're going to have time in this meeting where we're all going to separate into, well, what may be 4 groups, but if we don't have enough people for a group, you know, we'll ask that 1 or 2, well, that 1 person likely to join a different group. But we'll see how it goes. You're going to vote with your feet as to which one you think is most significant to work on. So to get a nice refresher, and this is where I, again, like I was alluding to, kick it back to Samantha.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
James, I'm getting over my cold too. It takes over a month. Are you asking for what we feel is the most significant, or are you asking us to choose a group that is the one we want to work on?
There's a fine line between those 2 descriptions. I think, I mean, you can be strategic about it. You know, maybe a lot of people are interested in working on one item that you think is a top one, but another one deserves your attention. You know, you could do something like that, or okay. There's just one you feel like you definitely need to give some input on before it goes too far. So you can think of it that way. It's, you know, we each can only be in one place at once. So that's what we're asking you to do, is to select one.
Okay.
Yeah, so just as kind of a recap of our prior meeting, for those who weren't there or can't remember, like me, I had to go look at our meeting minutes to remember what happened. We had kind of said like, hey, we have these 4 requests that we have said for a while that we want to do. We haven't really said like one of them is the top priority or whatever. Let's just tee them all up, get them all ready, and take them to the next meeting, break out into breakout sessions, and just kind of work on them all. And see where we can go from there. We do get about 4 changes we can do every month, but as we discussed in the last meeting, we have to know 60 days before we want it to go in what we want to work on. So we need to start moving things through so that we can get them into, right now we're looking at probably the 2nd release of March, if not the 1st release of April, when we're talking about that 60 days, right? So we prepared these 4 items that we have been kind of circling around for a while, pretty interested in. If you take a look at your briefing sheet, there's descriptions of each one of them. So what we're going to do for this section is I'm going to go over just kind of like a high level reminder of each one, what each one is. You can follow along in your briefing sheet. And then we're going to split out into 4 groups. We were joking as we were prepping for this that anyone that doesn't get anybody to join in, Jelly Bean gets to make the decisions, and I wouldn't leave it up to a guinea pig. So you guys figure it out. But you know, in all seriousness, we would like to have a couple of people go into each request to try to work on their recommended output. We'll have, James, what's the agenda? Did we have about 20 minutes in the agenda for each item?
Well, yeah, the breakout session is,
yeah,
I think
so
we can put 20 minutes, but we're running a little ahead of schedule right now, so we might have some more time.
All right, so we have some time, about 20-25 minutes to go into breakout sessions, look deep dive on a request with your facilitator, and try to get us to an outcome. So we have the first one up is a request for people who would like to work on request 4. You're going to be on Dion's team. He kindly got voluntold that this is his problem. Thank you so much for not running away screaming when I suggested this would be a good one for you to facilitate, Dion. Always appreciate that. So this one, we have some screenshots included in the briefing sheet. What happens basically in the system is when you are going through and you're reporting a change to your existing case, or you're renewing your existing case, it's going to pre-populate in with all of your information through the ONE online portal. And you get these screens that have all of these records on them. So when you're looking on page, what page is this? 3 of your briefing sheet, you'll see it says self-employment income summary. And then it has like a grid with lists of information, and the rest of the screen loads in blank. Of course, this is super confusing for people. They're like, well, I need to change my income amount and I don't know how to do this because there's no description of what to do whatsoever. I know, and Veronica knows, and Mandy knows, what you need to do is you need to click that little pencil so that you can edit it, or you can say, oh, that income has changed, or oh, that income has ended. But there's no description on the screen. So if you look back on screen or page 2, I actually provided a sample that we have in another part of the application that kind of describes how the pencil works. So what I'm hoping out of request 4 is that Dion and anyone who joins Dion can look at the example text we've already created and think about how they would want to put it onto these screens and where they would want to put it on these screens. So when people are looking at this grid, they understand what to do. So that's request 4. Very important. This is a big problem. We hear a lot of feedback that people don't know how to update their income or end their income, or update or end their expenses on their case. We really need to get this fixed for people. The next one is a little bit of a tricky scenario here. It is request 9, and we have Veronica, who is a lead of the AP technical team. And like I said, that is our dedicated technical support team. So she's the one who is the lead over the team that's taking those calls all day, every day, trying to help people use their ONE online portal and the mobile app. They get a lot of calls for people who say they got a text message or an email saying that they have a message in their online message center. They have a notice they've received, and when they log in, they can't find it. So Veronica is going to be able to do a lot better description of this than I can, for sure. But there are basically 2 scenarios that happen when they log in, where they would get into their message center and not necessarily see their message. We've already crafted some language for one of the scenarios. If you look on page 4, there's a screenshot of how it currently looks. There's actually an additional scenario. So what we're thinking is take that text that's in that purple box and slightly modify it so that it covers both of the scenarios that Veronica can deep dive, go over and explain there on page 4. So that's request 9. The third one, request 16. People who want to work on request 16 have to listen to me talk more. So sorry about that in advance, but on the upside, you also get Jellybean, who's being adorable right now. So for this one, when individuals create an account, if they don't do what's called member match, which is our system's process of going, hey, this Berta who just created this account, is this also this James Berta who is receiving SNAP benefits? We're not sure. We're going to compare the data and figure it out, right? It's called a member match. Member match can come back as no match. Oh no, these are not the same person at all. They can come back as a partial match. We think, but we're not sure if this James Berta is that James Berta. They could be different James Bertas entirely, or it's a full match. Yes, James Berta who created this account is this James Berta who is receiving SNAP benefits. So when somebody full matches, they go direct they log into their account and it loads up their case and they see all of their information about their case. When they partial match, the system doesn't know who they are, so it needs more information to decide, or it needs a worker to decide. So they get into the screenshot that you'll see on page 6 of the briefing sheet that basically starts having them fill out an application. And if you filled out an application on one, you know it's not a quick task, right? It takes 30, 40 minutes to do. So if they're already receiving benefits, we want them to stop at that point and just call Veronica's team, because Veronica's team can link them. They can link that account to the case. We don't want them to have to go through a lot of energy and effort, right? So we want to stop that. So what the people who want to come listen to me talk more, as if you're not getting enough of it already, in request 16 will do is look at some text that I mocked up and maybe hopefully make it a lot better, because we all know that I'm not great at communicating to non-technical people, and I definitely need your voices to make it better, make it make sense for folks. And I can describe this scenario a little bit more because I know this one is very technical and not very exciting. The fourth one that we have, request 18, this is a question about liquid resources. What we found is we're getting feedback that people are like, what's a liquid resource? And that's totally fair. If you look on screen 7, there's a screenshot that says resource questions. Tell us about resources for you and the members of your household. You'll be asked more questions about your resources during your interview. And then the first question is liquid resources. Does anyone in the household have liquid resources? Currently, right now, if you see, there's this little like blue question mark button. And if people click that, it gives help text. But what we're hearing is that people aren't clicking it to get the help text. So maybe we need to find a way to work into this question of, does anyone in the household have liquid resources? We need to find a way to work in some good examples of liquid resources so people understand when they need to say yes. It is also possible that this group would come out suggesting that we change it from liquid resources to something else. However, there are a lot of impacts to changing it from liquid resources to another term. We would have to change it on multiple screens, in multiple systems, and in our correspondence, our letters that go out. So that's not a recommended path, because that could easily get bigger than our work items. Remember, our work items have to fit into 50 hours, and that could spiral into a big one. So while that might be like a really easy trick, that is not one that I would necessarily suggest. But this group and James get to dig into that question and really decide, like, what do we want our screens to say around liquid resources? So that's our 4 changes that we're looking at today. Back to you, James.
Samantha?
Thank you, Samantha. Any questions? That was a lot. And you do have your briefing sheets as well, as Angela is scrolling through it.
Samantha?
Sure.
Could you explain to the group what liquid assets are? Some people don't know what liquid assets are.
It was on that briefing sheet.
What was?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I mean, and the easy way to think of it, as it says on the briefing sheet, is that it's readily accessible money, basically. And the examples are a checking account, a savings account, stocks, bonds. But that's hence the term liquid. Is unlike a house, it has a lot of value, but it's not readily accessible because it's hard to sell a house.
Okay, so there's the definition of it right there. James, there's something I want to bring up that I discovered. I wish Oregon could do what California did. When they go to do something like this in California for CalMed, on the second go around, when it's time to renew for for preview, you don't have to claim your assets the second time around. And you can't be asked how many assets you have to be on a system like this in California. I was like blown away.
That is out of my depth.
I know. That's-
So, George, when we're talking about policy, and that sort of stuff falls into the policy range, every state is given funds for Medicaid to administrate their Medicaid programs a little bit as it works for them. Some are actually, they've just been like, oh, we can't figure out our Medicaid, and Social Security can handle it. So you'll see a federal rules only around how Medicaid is run. But some states do it on their own. They manage their own. Oregon is one of the states that manages our own. So we're going to have slightly different rules than other states on what we need to determine eligibility. So yeah, depending on the program you're in for your Medicaid, some of them do have resource assessments that have to happen at every renewal, and some of them don't. And it really just depends on the different programs, the different types of Medicaid you're getting in Oregon. But yeah, every state is going to have a little bit of different rules. And actually, you'll see that with other programs too. For example, SNAP has some differences here versus Florida. The way Florida does it is a little bit different. We actually give SNAP to more people because we've taken a different implementation of the SNAP federal rules. So there's a little bit of differences. And I know it's really kind of hard for somebody who's transitioning between states to understand the difference. But yeah, the rules are a little bit different because the feds basically give us the money, give us some core sets of expectations, and then say, you figure out the rest.
Yeah, well, when I read that, it was like, wow, like, whoa. So how do you want to handle, is people going to want to choose the groups, or are you going to assign the groups, guys?
I think you all can see, can anyone see the groups yet? Okay, good. It's been a while since I've done this in Teams, so. So you can choose to join. Before you jump in, let me and I should probably put this in the chat. We're gonna go ahead and go until 11, but then we'll have a break. So it's gonna be a little weird. So we're not gonna reconvene in the main group until 11:05. So, and we'll see how that works.
I do want to welcome April that came in.
Oh. Yes, thank you. So go ahead and join, and your facilitator will also go ahead and hop in. I'll be facilitating the request 18. So I'll be there in just a minute or so.
So are we choosing in the chat which one to go to?
Yeah. Okay.
Somehow it picked us.
Well, no, you do have to select a group, George, or one of those requests for 4, 9, 16, or 18.
Yeah, but it's not in the chat for me to select.
Is it not on your screen?
It's not.
Huh. Well, how about this, George? Which group do you want to join? I can just put you in.
I'll join the one that you're in.
Okay, 18. All right.
Yeah, can you assign me to a group as well, please? I can't choose either.
Huh. Which one do you want to join, Mariah?
What were my options again?
Those 4, 9, 16, and 18. Those are the ones that Sam just reviewed.
Big number 4. That's fine.
Okay.
I think those of us who are all here right now are in your group, James.
I don't think so.
There was no option for me to select a group.
That's really weird. Okay, actually, there's no one in 9, so just Veronica. So if you want to join another one, let me know.
Well, I'll join 9 with Veronica.
Okay, there you go. Why not? Okay, Angel, I hope you're set, and just text if you need anything.
Okay, wait, am I supposed to be in one of those groups?
Yeah, you can if you want.
Okay.
Before I do, here we go. Now we're back on track. And I hand it over back to James.
Yeah, thank you, George, and thank you, everyone. It sounded like this is something we will perhaps do, well, not perhaps, we should do more in the future. So we'll see. But for reasons simply because they have a low number, we're going to ask group 4, request 4 group to be our first to report back. And we'll just take turns, and I hope everyone feels like they can comment and engage. I know our group is group request 18 is looking forward to hearing what people think as well. So Dion, I don't know if you want to share your screen or there's some other spokesperson who's going to speak.
I can speak. I kept the notes, so unless there's anyone in the group that really feels compelled to report out. All right. I understand silence. Got it. So we had requests 4, and apologies. I'm trying to get to where I can screen share. All right. Can you see my screen now? I see some head nods. So we had requests for really this is around the, as Sam mentioned, around the pencil and the red X. This is a screenshot from the expense summary. I'm not sure because I don't know the portal from the Oregonians point of view. So I'm not sure if this is towards the beginning, towards the end, but really what we wanted to focus on is this other piece here when it comes to income and things. And so how do we make sure that the Oregonian, when going through this, understands what the pencil and the red X mean? And so we threw around actually a couple of options, and just in case functionally we're not able to go with one of them. And really the option 2 was just kind of your if you hover over the pencil, a pop-up will come up and it gives that an explanation. This is to edit, etc. If you hover over the X, this is to remove. That was the backup option. But the first option, and one that is a little bit maybe a little more clear, is adding some text. So we have this box, the frequency and the action boxes, and we have all the space. I'm assuming you can see my cursor because I'm pointing with that. So we have this space here, and understanding that this is testing, and so this won't be here. But if we're able to utilize this space, what we'd like to have it is bullet or some way to, thank you for the green line, a bullet or something that gives an explanation that if you'd like to change the information, click listed, click the pencil. If you'd like to remove the information listed, click the red X, and then have a confirmation. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and click this pencil. And so now I've clicked the pencil, have another pop-up that basically confirms pop-up that comes up and it says, you know, you've clicked the pencil. Are you wanting to make a change to this field? If yes, continue. And another pop-up if for the X, if you've clicked the red X, are you wanting to delete this field? Really, the goal is to somehow keep the page clean, and have the verbiage short and clear as much as we can, but really it would become a sort of a two-step process. You take the action and then you confirm the action. But really what we'd like to do is try and get it somewhere in this space above the frequency and action lines. And that led us to a question, and maybe that's a question for Sam. You know, is that space, you know, where the green line is that space available to create or put some words in there? And it's words and an icon, so that way they can correlate the icon with the definition.
Yes, it's available, but it's not very big. So in that space, like if we use exactly the space of frequency and action, we're talking about like 4 words, right? So we may need to consider not necessarily just doing it right where the green line is, but maybe doing it between where it says self-employment income summary and then where it starts into the grid in kind of that space.
So it'd be kind of creating an extra line.
Yeah. Just because this is not a very big space. As you can see, we couldn't put much text in there without it kind of stacking up on itself and really making this page very lopsided. I mean, we could do like multiple rows of 4 words, but then it's just like this weird column of text, if that makes sense.
Maria has a question in the chat.
So it looks like in chat, Maria's asking, can we, next to the pencil, can we put edit? And next to the icon, the X icon, can we put probably delete or remove? And yeah, I think that would actually be possible. I think we could modify these such that when the pencil appears, it says edit next to it. And the action icon or the action column is the column that contains basically the links. They're kind of like little hyperlinks, right? To be able to take action on that record. So if you click the pencil in the action column of the room rental row, it's going to edit the room rental income, if that makes sense. Your face is telling me that didn't make sense.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate your
It's recording. So maybe, sorry. So for the action, does that mean that it needs action? So there'll be an X there because we need to take an action.
No, it means that these are the actions that can be taken. So
Okay.
the pencil will be available anytime after the first time you add that income. So you'll notice that rental property, for example, only has a pencil, whereas room rental has a pencil and an X. So after the first time you submit an application or a change or a renewal that includes rental property, it will only have the pencil because you can only edit it. You can't delete. However, if you added, you can see that room rental has the X. If you added the room rental here in self-employment and then you move forward, you don't submit this application yet, and then you come back and you go like, oh, you know what, actually that person moved out, so now I don't have that income anymore. You can just delete that record because you've never submitted that on your case. So it's just that first time that before it's been submitted that you can delete it. And ongoing, then you have to edit it. If you no longer have the income, you have to do the pencil and then go put in the end date of the income.
Sorry, Samantha, I'm thinking maybe that this could be another conversation in the future, but like I know that sometimes if the income changes, like they no longer have that income anymore, but that red button is not there, they're not able to update that, or are we able to just do that when we go to report a change? I'm wondering.
So if they no longer have that income, when they're coming in to report a change, they'll just click the pencil and then it'll ask, do you still have the same? That's like the first question. And they can just no. And then
Okay.
it'll, what's the data of that
Okay,
change?
got it.
Thank you.
So the text that comes out of Dion's group, I think we would want to make sure like really well describes how people would use the pencil to say it's both. I hope it describes change and ending. Did you guys come up with draft language, Dion?
Yeah, I mean, I took a quote basically of what we had said. Some of them, I mean, there's quite a few words. So I think it kind of depends on how much space we'll have. But we can also really, slim it down and, pencil equals edit. X equals delete or remove, right? But I think one of the things that was added in, hopefully we can include that is sort of a confirmation. Like, I think this is what this means, so I'm going to click it. And so now there's another pop-up that says, okay, you've clicked this, so this means you're wanting to make a change. Is that correct? Or, you've clicked the red X. Are you wanting to delete this field? And it would essentially be some sort of a little mini pop-up, I think. But I think it was really kind of just around making it sort of a two-step. This is what it means, and okay, now you've taken an action. This is what you're trying to do.
Let me go check on that. So when you click on edit, what happens is that it will populate the information. So if we clicked on edit for rental property, right? So you can see right down here where it says the self-employment income details, its income category is blank and business name, description of work is blank, right? If you click on the pencil, what it's going to do is it's going to load this information down below. So income category will be loaded with rental property and it will have all this information. So there's no confirmation currently. And all that happens is it makes it available for you to edit. For the delete though, yes, we already have a delete confirmation.
Okay, Maria had a question. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, Samantha, I just had a question because I feel like the task at hand is like we're trying to figure out with explanatory text how to let the user know what these mean, because even just in us just looking at it and seeing a little pencil and an X, sometimes people might not even know you can click on them if there's nothing directing them to be able to click on it. That's why we either suggested something above frequency and action, something as simple as edit with an arrow pointing down, or just the pencil, edit information, X, remove information. We can make it a smaller amount of words, to utilize in the space. But I think that, or hovering over, the icon and then having an explanatory pop-up text from there saying, click on this if you choose to edit your information. It's just like, I think the problem is like we're trying to figure out how to have explanatory text to show people what these icons even really mean instead of just a picture of a pencil and an X. How are we kind of directing them to know
Yeah,
you can even
exactly.
take action? So I think that's why we suggested an area right above where they can associate the picture to what it means to do with that picture in that small area above, so that they can kind of look from that directive down and match the pencil, the red X to that action. Or, even doing like an edit tab and then pointing down so that people know it's an editable action in the first place. And then if they hover over, then to have a pop-up explanatory text or something. Because right now, just in looking at it, it's not clear, and just a green pencil or a red X, it's not very effective, I would say, right now as is. So I think figuring out how to add the explanatory text to guide them to the action. It's kind of like the space in which we were coming from.
100% agree. And I think you guys were on the right track as far as, yeah, looking at these icons, they're not useful at all. And how do we explain that to people? I think that the hover over is totally doable functionality. That is something we can totally add. I don't know that we have to go with one or the other. I think we can do both. Honestly, we can do your option 1 and your option 2. We can add text on the screen, and we can do a hover over, because a hover over is never going to have enough information either, right? Like, you can't have a 14 paragraph. You can't have your TED talking hover over. It's got to be 1 or 2 or 3 words. I see April's hand is up.
Yeah, and my other concern, and I was in the same group with Maria, is on page 3, or sorry, on page 2 of, where we have page 3 of our briefing sheet, we have the example of the expense summary where it does explain the pencil and the X, but pencils and X's are all over this place. So when do we, as the collective, we think that people need explanation for what these mean? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. For some reason, they have it on the expense summary, but they don't have it anywhere else. So even if we just took that line, click the pencil icon to make changes. If you added something by mistake, click the red X to remove it. Anywhere above, anywhere in the area where people have the option to, the pencil and the X are showing up with the like hover pop-up, I think will hopefully make less mistakes for folks.
And Samantha, sorry, but I feel like what we're talking about as well is like the over explanation. Even this is a big old brief paragraph, and it's like they're going page by page and there's already so much to read. And so I think when we talk about the pop-up or even the explanatory text right above, it doesn't have to be a ton of words. It could simply match the icon to the action, saying simply click here to edit information, click here to remove information. It could be that short and simple. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out, because the more words people are having to read, the more over explaining there is, the harder and more complicated it becomes. So we can simplify it and then also let them know what clicking on that, how to direct them to the action itself. But it could be minimal words. It doesn't have to be a lot of words.
I mean, you yourself said this takes like 30 to 40 minutes to fill out an application. I've done it. It's exhausting. And I have a degree. I use computers all day long. And I think about the people who don't have computers, who are not doing this, they're not online all the time. And it was exhausting for me. My brother filled it out. He's a master's degree. It's exhausting. I think the less words, the better. If we could make the whole thing shorter, that would be great, but I know the government won't let us. So just less words, more pictures.
Maria had said something in chat too that you might want to read. She brought up a really good point on Maria.
Maria, I like your point on there because it was the same thing we talked about. I was saying even with the hover over option, I said you would still need a word or explanatory text to direct them to even do that action. And that's what I was thinking about, was the action before that action. And so that's why I was mentioning maybe in the space provided, if we put click below to edit information or an arrow pointing down to the signals, at least that would direct their cursor down that way to where the pop-up, because you have to direct them to the action itself. They wouldn't even know that that's a thing unless they happen to have their mouse hover over that specific part that would even do the pop-up. So we were talking about a possible directive step before, the hover over, which is what you're saying in the comment down there as well, because people would need to know to get directed to even do that. So I agree.
Okay, so are we done with this to go to the next one? Because we're closing on time here.
Yep, that was all the notes that we had. So I think we're okay to move forward.
Hey, James?
Well, there was, I don't think any members decided to join request 9, so we can move forward to Samantha's group, request 16.
All right, because I know people just can't get enough of listening to me talk away. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Wait, where was it? Here it is. So we all learned, everybody who joined my group learned that I am not good at Zoom. But here we go. I think I'm sharing my screen now. It looks like I am. Okay. I cannot see chat though. So let me, one more modification. Nah, I can't figure it out. You guys have to yell at me if somebody puts something in chat because I can't see it. So my group was talking about this very first kind of screen that people enter after they've created their account. If the system was not able to get a member match, which means to positively identify the person as somebody we already know. We talked about some modifications to this screenshot here that says, let's get started. After let's get started, we added some additional, or we modified some text. So we took the first two sentences of this paragraph that says, welcome to Oregon ONE Eligibility. The site allows you and your family to apply for programs that may help meet your needs. Then we wanted to add in another like bold header text that says, are you currently receiving benefits with Oregon Department of Human Services or Oregon Health Authority? Have had benefits with us in the past, or have you applied for benefits through healthcare.gov? And then says, call us at 1-800-978-1073 and request staff link your ONE online account with your case. Our support team is available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. We accept all relay calls. And then we added another kind of bold header sort of paragraph that says, are you applying for benefits with ODHS for the first time? Below is a list of programs you can apply for through this website. You can find out more about these programs by clicking the links below. And then it just kind of goes back into the existing screen with the list of hyperlinks that give more information about each program in another window that will open up if they click on it. So the main thing we did was take this first paragraph and kind of tease it out into 3 paragraphs to insert the information about if you already have benefits or you already have a case or you've had a case in the past, call us so we can connect your account to that case. So you don't have to go through this 30-40 minute, enter a whole application only for the end result to be for us to go like, oh yeah, we actually do already know you. So yeah, I can't see chat as I mentioned. So any thoughts or feelings or suggestions to the text Maria, Vanessa, and I proposed?
Yeah, this is George. With this being said like this, is this going to, once they get into say like SNAP, is it going to take them back to this text, or is it going to go to the next thing from like, for example, from like SNAP to medical?
Sure. I actually did open up. I was looking at the way this actually looks. The last one we were talking about, I was seeing if we already had a hover over. So I was actually playing around in here. Let me actually get back so I can show you what happens when people click on that hyperlink. I am in the UAT system, so this is all fake, made up play data with silly names. So just so you guys know. And I just wanted to, let's see if I can find somebody, get in here. And by the way, it does move a little bit slow. It's kind of a pokey system. This is our user acceptance testing system. So it's the one we use to confirm changes. So let's see, I'll click start an application and that will get me to that same screen. But it does move slow. So I apologize for that. So when I click on this Snap hyperlink, it opens it in another tab. I kind of wish it did it behind, but it looks like it's doing it up in front. So they would just close this tab to go back. Thoughts, feelings, do we need anything additional to make that make sense?
So with that being said, there's the people that's filling these out. And I heard some concern about having to do this like 40 to 45 minutes. With this concept, is it going to be shorter in doing all this like this?
If they do not need, if they already have benefits, it will eliminate their need to fill this out in order to see their case information. So yes, if they're requesting benefits, they do have to go through the whole application process.
Okay. Any questions for Samantha? This is your guys' group. Speak up. Vanessa? Judith? Mandy? Vixen? Okay, I hear nothing.
So I do want to ask, if you guys saw this sentence and you knew that you had, you have SNAP or you had SNAP a year ago, would you understand that rather than moving forward, you need to stop and make the call? That's my big heartburn, like to ensure that people are reading this and they know what their steps are.
I would say the only thing would be to put, if yes, or if so, then call us.
Okay.
My only other thing is I feel like sometimes when you have this many words, when it says, are you currently receiving benefits with ODHS? And it has a whole lot of words, and then have had benefits with us in the past, they may stop at the, are you currently receiving benefits? I think that, are you currently receiving benefits or have had benefits with ODHS in the past? Then they're going to read it all instead of just, nope, I don't have it right now, and skip it.
I see exactly what you're saying. Had benefits with, like that?
Yes. I think that's better.
Mandy, Mariah, Veronica, Judith. Vanessa, what do you all think?
I think it looks good. There is 2 widths next to Oregon, though.
I'm so glad you're here for this, Veronica. I definitely not going to know. Okay. With, where was it? Aha. There we go.
Vanessa? Is she on? Mandy?
Looks good to me.
Vixen, you already said something, right?
Is
Yep.
there a timeline on the question when it says, have you had benefits with us in the past or applied for benefits through healthcare.gov? Because like as an assister, we have that front page that says, please allow them to have access for your information, and the maximum is up to 5 years. So it's like, what if they were like, oh yeah, I had benefits in the past, it was like a decade ago, it's like, is there a timeline associated to what in the past means? Or how far in the past does ODS go for an individual to store their information or something? Or I mean,
How
I'm reading too
nerdy,
much.
Maria?
Huh?
Or Mariah? How nerdy do you want to get, Mariah?
I'm just on the assister standpoint, it says, please allow them to have access for this much time, and it's up to 5 years. And so it's like, if somebody is like, oh, a decade ago, yeah, I had it in the past, but.
So if they have had benefits with ODHS anytime in the past, their client index record still exists, and we would want to match to that rather than creating a new one. For healthcare.gov, we kind of we kind of toyed with this language. It's really they applied through healthcare.gov and was their application transferred to OHP? But then it was getting a little bit too wordy and weird. So we kind of stopped it here because we didn't think that people would apply through healthcare.gov and then necessarily turn around and come here immediately as well. Open to feedback on that. But so if an individual has applied through healthcare.gov and they get referred to OHP, once that referral file gets sent over from healthcare.gov, again, their individual is created in our client index and we don't ever purge that. They exist forever. They might not have any data aside from, so for somebody who hasn't had medical in, let's say, gosh, what is it, 2024? So 15 years, right? Back when we were entirely in our legacy system, we would not have anything in ONE for them, but we would still have their client index, which contains their first name, last name, date of birth, social security number if they have one, and the sex they disclosed to us at the time that they applied back 15 years ago. And we would want to match that because it contains their old prime. We don't want to be creating new prime numbers unnecessarily either, if we can avoid it.
Okay, April?
How hard is it to pull up all that old information?
It is something that workers do all the time.
Oh, cool.
Yep. They can't pull up like case details. Like if you haven't had medical in 20 years, they can't pull up what income you had because that's all contained in an old system. But the client index records are shared over to the ONE system. So that's the fix. April has her hand up.
Yeah.
So I have had another thought. Obviously, that's why I'm talking. Is the message here that they should stop what they're doing? Just like if you already are receiving benefits or have in the past, should they stop right then and there and call? Or should they proceed with the application? Like how important is it that they call?
It will save them about 40 minutes of time, but the end result is the same. So they do not have to.
Okay.
It's just easier for them.
Okay. I guess it just like feels like, yes, I should call. Do I call right now? Should I not keep doing this?
You know what, maybe, and I actually kind of like the way you said it, right? If yes, stop and call us, or is that too, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not to put down any self-sufficiency offices. I know they're super low staffed and all that stuff and super busy, but it could save them 40 minutes. They could also be on hold for an hour and a half.
Actually, this phone number that they'll call goes direct to the technical support team, and their wait times are like 1 to 2 minutes.
Oh, great. Okay, and so all it does is kind of connect them without like their old information, kind of imports it into ONE and their ONE username.
Yeah, it connects that client index record of their demographic, and if they currently have a case, it connects them to their new account.
I mean, then I vote to stop and call us at this, and then maybe say, this'll be fast. You have time for this, trust me.
I think we want to provide options though. Like you said, you can continue on if you'd rather. What if a person would prefer to do it technology oriented and on the computer and they don't want to call somebody? Like, what if I'd rather just handle it myself? So I don't think that we should be having a demand, or, taking too much, just offering options more than anything on what they can be doing, whether that's continuing the application here, making it a little easier to call, however they prefer to do it, to leave open choice. And the only thing I was wondering is, in the same way, because I'm an assister, for the patient side of it, when they're going through this application and they put in their date of birth and their social and their, does it not automatically take them to their, current caseload that they already have the same way that it does for an assister? Because for me, if I'm helping somebody, it'll automatically say, do you want to go to the individual dashboard for this person? Does it not do the same thing for the user that it does for us as the assister, to just already take them to their current
It will if they member matched. This is for when people haven't necessarily member matched. So if I come in and I create my account, but I didn't include my social security number, it can't do the member match. Just kind of like for I think as a sisters, you guys experience that a lot where you have individuals who don't have social security numbers, and it's always pushing you to, unless you connect from your dashboard, it's always pushing you guys to that screen where it says like, yep, we'll figure this out. It's the worker pend for a worker to figure out who the individual is. It's the partial match. It's kind of the same thing is happening for clients, and we're trying to get them to call and avoid that.
Okay, Maria had a question.
Oh, I was just saying, I think we were trying to just prevent like creating multiple accounts. I kind of feel like the stop is a little aggressive, and I like that giving them the options. Yeah.
I like it. My concern a little bit is the length of the screen. This is a pretty lengthy screen already. Ooh. See, it goes. Sorry, it has the please wait, but you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. It's already a pretty lengthy screen, so we can do that. But I did hear there was concern about length of the screen.
Okay, Judy.
That's the opening right there. That's tough for any user. Like you get to the first page and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, you're real.
Somebody
Yeah.
off. That's a lot.
Yeah,
it is.
it is a lot of information. I don't know how much longer we want to make it, but I do hear like giving people options. Maybe if yes, you can.
I was thinking that as well. Like you can call us at this number, or so people know it's an option to do it, or they can proceed with the application as well. Either way, to their preference.
Isn't the word may?
Very polite.
Okay.
Well, if you break it up with some nice font, I think they might be able to get through the entire document. Oh,
Add some bullet points. Yeah.
It helps. Bullet points help. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. This page is definitely a chonker. It's not our favorite. Yeah.
Angela, what do you think?
Me? Did you call me? Want to make sure. Okay. For me, I was kind of confused at the beginning what the purpose of this message would be. Is it really for the Oregonian who is applying, or are we just trying to have multiple duplicate case numbers for the individual? So let's say the Oregonian they stopped the application and called this number and was able to get through within 5 minutes, but then most of them will have something to update, right? Then they will, when they connect to the old case, they will have to either go in again and then update all the information that it's not currently correct. Then wouldn't it actually easier for them to just do the new application from the beginning? That may take 30 minutes, but rather than calling this number and have to update all the information. So like, are we trying to save time for Oregonians, or are we trying to not to have multiple cases? Like what's, or do both?
So in a partial match scenario where this account is created and we think it might belong to somebody who already has benefits, but we're not sure, we could end up with a situation where they fill out a whole application for benefits and it turns out they're already receiving those benefits. So we're trying to avoid that situation for the client of spending their time. Whereas if they connect, they get to see their existing benefits right away. The system has logic such that if they were on benefits and then their benefits end and they do not receive them for 3 months, then even if we connect them to their existing, like their old case, right, from their medical a year ago, even if we connect them, they'll fill out the whole application rather than having to go in and update all that old information. But if they've had benefits within the past 3 months, it will pre-populate in that information for them to just go in and correct. Because to some degree, it is easier to go in and correct information than it is to fill out the whole application again, right? Like it already brings in all the family members, it already brings in all of your demographic information, your answers to your race, ethnicity, language questions, etc. So you don't have to fill out all of that information again. But it also helps us avoid accidentally giving people duplicate benefits. So it's for the client, but it's also for the department.
Sam, I think it would be a good idea. Did you let the branches of the Oregon Health and Human Service know about that? Because I do know there is some case managers that are frustrated with that.
Yeah, this functionality, the linking came out a year ago and they were all trained on it. We are reissuing the training because we're finding that there are lots of workers who are using it very incorrectly. So we're getting that training reissued out to them.
Okay. James, we need to go on to the next one.
Agreed. So we're in a pretty good place with this one, sounds like. Yeah, we only have 5 minutes left. I know actually there was some suggestions made on the other request of 9, and we'll definitely circle back to that. But let me share my screen. We had George, Judy, and NJ with us. Let's see if I'm sharing the right one. Here we go. And it actually felt like it was pretty straightforward, you know, talking about the liquid resources. And so what we came up with is just right on the next line. Well, here's the existing screenshot right here. And then the liquid so this is what we came up with, is just put the question, the info bar on the next line, and put this text. And then this is the discussion that you, Dion, and the group in request 4 felt in a lot of ways similar to the one that we had in our group. It's like, how do we get people to understand, you know, the question mark to actually use it. So we were thinking about, should there be a directory at the beginning, but then will people actually read it, and you know, as opposed to just another barrier beginning the application. But that was just something to consider. But basically it was just this.
Mm-hmm.
So any other comments, Judy, George, and Jay?
Well, basically what we wanted to do is we just wanted to make it a simple process. And so what the heck is liquid resources? So instead of, you know, there are many ways they could figure that out, but by having, for examples, what liquid resources are, easily just click here on the question mark, and that answers all of that, which makes it so much easier for them. They don't have to hunt and figure it out. It's there. And actually, they are learning through this example what the question mark means. So as they're going through the rest of the application and they see the question mark, they remember, oh yeah, I remember that. I can just click on that and that gives me my answer. So basically it's really simple. and easy to understand, and it doesn't take up a lot of room, and we don't have to change anything on any federal applications or et cetera and so on. And that's it.
And I suggested with this like this, it can be direct. That way there's no confusion when someone's filling this out. They'll know exactly with this wording, question mark next to it. They'll know what the question mark is about, what's in it. It's just a straight direct instead of wondering what the question mark for some people.
Oh, they might even think the question mark just meant the rest of the sentence, liquid resources that are easily converted to cash. What does that mean? You know, so this makes it easy.
When I first started working, helping, doing application, when I saw this question mark, I thought this was just a question.
Yeah.
Like liquid resource, do you have liquid resources? I thought it was just that.
Yeah. Do you know what they are? The liquid resources?
Actually, I do have a question. James and Samantha, I'm wondering if you had another symbol in there and take out the question mark, would that be a better symbol? Or do you think that having the question mark in there would be right where it's at?
Well,
So
it
that
depends on the symbol, but go ahead, Samantha.
I was going to say that symbol is used throughout the whole application to indicate help text. So we would have to change it on not every screen, but almost every screen.
Yeah.
So it's not just used right here.
Yeah. And you don't like that. Going back and changing every single one. No.
It's I don't like it because it's not a work item, Judith. We get into a request.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, it's that question of iconography, like the pencil and the X mark and such is, what iconography is going to be universally understood. And there's probably nothing, but the question mark with the blue circle like that is fairly universal as those things go. And I don't know if we would find a better one. Can we explain it better? I think we can do that. But in terms of an info box, I'm not sure how we can do better.
Why take something that's so simple and easy and make it complicated?
Yeah. Okay, we're pretty much at time, so I don't know if we feel like we finalized all these or any of these, but we're close. It feels like we're very close. So maybe we can put in for March or late March and finalize the next meeting. And we'd love to talk about request 9 too. And we have a couple others on deck that we'll get to talk about soon. I want to remind people, if you look at the agenda, stop sharing this screen, that we do have a form to take more suggestions. We got one on ERDC. We'll, from the last meeting, and we'll start talking about that feedback form because our group to respond to feedback is starting to get up and running. So feel free to share that form that's linked in the agenda. And
I already passed mine out.
thank you, George.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to remind people that, again, this is your committee. Please feel that, put your opinions in. We do need a lot more so we could start working on these. I'm hearing around the surrounding state that we are, they're happy that we are doing this and helping them out. And the comment was that they wish that it could continue being better than before. I just wanted to put that comment out of what was referred to me. So we're doing a good job. Let's keep up and go from here.
Thank you, George.
And thank you to everyone for their input today. This is great.
Mhm. Mhm.
And Samantha, can you hold on for a second when I can have a one-on-one with you? I've been trying to get your attention and I've been having no